Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
So everyone knows AAA. I mean, I hope you do. I've told Wayne KINSER, who is here in our studio right now, he's actually the field insurance manager of the Auto Club group in Delray and Carl Springs, and he's just a terrific guy. I've been working with AAA for so many years, and it's because there's something magical about them. I always want to think they're Disney, but they're not. But they sell Disney tickets, they do all that. But Wayne KINSER is a joyful, very hardworking person at AAA, and he specializes in selling insurance. So welcome to our show.
Well, thanks, Anita. Thanks for having me on today. Always excited to spread the word about AAA and add some value to those existing members and share some of the benefits that only AAA can provide to maybe those that aren't taking advantage of it.
And we talked about before we started the show that people think AA, AAA is, for the road trips or for the people who are stuck in a traffic jam or their battery doesn't start or something, right? But there's a lot more to it, and that's why we have you here. One thing, though, I must say is that no matter what you do with AAA, you're never going to have to fight them about something. If there was a mistake, they're going to eat it. They're wonderful. The travel, I know I was dealing with travel people one time, and they didn't like something that happened on travel. Boy, AAA went at the organization that booked them, and they'll never do it again, I'm sure, right? You're a powerful company.
That's absolutely the case because AAA is so large. We've got quite a bit of, for lack of a better word, pull with some of those vendors that we deal with. And of course, you can't please everybody, and we do provide a concierge service. We try to make sure that we take care of everything, keep the promises that were made, and make sure that people have the best experience possible. Really, that's the big message that everybody's really wanting everyone to know right now is it's really about the experience, whether it's one of our preferred providers, like a travel vendor or one of those type of places, or whether it's simple as renting a car through Hertz or something. It's the experience provided to the AAA member that kind of sets us apart from the others. We do have people that come in and complain because it rained on the third day of their excursion.
You're kidding.
Unfortunately, we can't help out much for that, but just about everything short of that, we've got your back.
I couldn't believe that. But let's go back and let's talk about insurance because, a lot of people think that insurance is after the fact. I mean, it's funny to say that, but I know that some people, once something happens, they think they can call the insurance agent and get it taken care of. Isn't that dumb? Why do they think that?
Unfortunately, insurance is what we like to call a grudge purchase, right? Nobody's really thrilled about buying insurance. I've yet to see anybody take a picture of their insurance policy and post it on their Facebook page. So it's one of those things. There's also a lot of misinformation and a lot of misunderstanding. And not to be critical, but the insurance industry has also changed quite a bit over the last 10 years. It's become very cutthroat. And as some of your listeners probably know, South Florida has always been known as kind of the headquarters for fraud. And that is absolutely the case with insurance as well. So, the main thing to look out for is when you're dealing with this is I like to say there's two kinds of insurance agents, right? One that's looking out for your and your family's best interests, and then the other is looking out for their best interests. Try to determine that early on before you build a relationship.
True. And AAA, I don't think I've ever heard a complaint. I mean, I have been working with AAA for so many years, and the people you hire, I know must be a very interesting hiring process because you're so careful. And age isn't a factor. There are some people who, if you were over 50, just don't even go because they're not going to hire you. But you always see older people there working, and also the idea that you can go there, and I think you can still go there and get movie tickets. Can you? And you can get Disney tickets. Well, can you do that?
We do, but that is one of the things that's transitioning. In the past, as many people know, you could go into a AAA and you could get Disney tickets and remember traveler's checks, right, back in the day.
So that's a long time ago.
So that's kind of the analogy I'm going
Right,
to use, right? So what's happened is that industry has kind of transitioned, and the tickets are now usually bought online and then printed at home.
I see.
But we do run into quite a few people who haven't really kind of adopted that yet, so we're happy to help in any way. What happens is AAA has a really powerful website, and by starting there, you can link to these other places to get your tickets, or maybe it's just a discount partner. If it's okay, I'll kind of give an example of that.
Yeah, please. We want you to do that.
Perfect. So
give it all to us.
AAA.com is a great place to start. And what happens there is it logs your membership number, and it starts to add what we call AAA dollars. And AAA dollars can be redeemed to pay for your membership renewal when it comes up. And there's no limit to the amount that you can earn. And an example would be Valentine's Day right around the corner. So we like to say treat your sweetheart and save with AAA. So if you're looking to delight your Valentine with something special, AAA can help. So this Valentine's Day and every other day, AAA members get exclusive savings that nobody else can provide. So maybe you want to take your sweetie out to a movie. If you go to AAA.com and then link to what we call Ticket Monster, which is now the platform that we use, you're going to save up to 40% on movie tickets, specifically at AMC. You could also save 25% on a flower or popcorn or something like that, a gift basket through 1-800-FLOWERS. We also have discounts through Harry and David, which are great around the holidays. So all kinds of things that people are really missing out on. Hopefully you'll find yourself maybe being immersed in something you weren't aware of, but it's very easy to say you're probably doing business with one of our partners already, and if you're not doing it this way, you're really missing out. Now, AAA is constantly changing, and I will say that sometimes it's hard to keep up with everything we do. We just had a regional meeting, and it was reminded to me again that you could go to AAA.com, and you could even do your shopping at Target or Home Depot, and like what we're seeing online or on TV, where they'll actually come out to your car and load these things for you. I tell you, the more and more, the busier I am and the older I get, the less patient I am in these stores, and that starts to really sound like a more value for me than what it did in the past.
So you're saying, this is interesting, I thought I knew everything about AAA, so I can now go to AAA.com, sign in my number, my membership number, and all of a sudden now I'll have all this potential. I can't believe it.
And you'll earn those AAA dollars, which will be a percentage of everything you spend with that partner. So this can literally pay for your membership and probably won't take a whole lot of effort.
The one thing that I think I told you, which is true, I didn't know when you went to stay at a hotel or motel that, if you're a member of AARP, you tell them. But now I found that if you're a member of AAA, of AAA, you get a better discount.
You usually do. AAA is going to usually have the best discount out there for hotels. And a lot of people like to shop online, and a lot of people find a lot of joy in doing that. But we also say that you're really missing out by not coming in and getting the face-to-face experience of one of our concierge professionals. They can really help you with things. Like, you may think that you're getting the best deal on that cruise, but do you realize that maybe the room they've put you in is near the engine room? Or maybe it's in the back where you're going to hear more things or smell fumes, or maybe you're in the front where you're going to bounce a little bit. These are things that maybe most people aren't thinking of and that we can help shed a little bit of light on. And it may not be that it's a negative thing, it's just trying to provide some advice. A quick example, I watched a woman come in with her adult daughter that were trying to plan a Caribbean cruise vacation, and they were looking at a low-priced one, and one of our travel agents, in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes, just gave them a few things to think about and said the particular one you're looking at is really popular with college students and high school people that have just graduated. So if you're looking for a cruise where the goal is to drink as much as you can and get as wild as possible, this would probably be the one to go on. If not, you may want to consider this one that's usually only about $30 or $40 more per person. That's excellent advice.
Yes.
That's
so true. Okay, well, let's get back into insurance, because we did start off with that, but the one thing that people tend to do is they may go for cost and price, and they go to places that are not going to protect them, they're not going to give them the advice, they're not going to have someone sit down like you have wonderful booths there where you sit in with an insurance person. Don't do it online. I really think you should sit with a person, as you said. So tell me, when someone, now we have this great beautiful ad in our Boomer Times, And it says one package insurance policy for your home and auto. What does that mean?
Right. So if you check out your current February issue of Boomer Times on page 7, we've got our AAA ad, and we thank Anita for working with us to be able to do that, to help us raise awareness. And that really is the key, right? Is most of the people in South Florida, especially for home insurance, are insured with a company that they've never heard of before. The State Farms, the Allstates, the names that you have recognition with typically have not written homeowners insurance in South Florida in well over 20 years.
Really?
Yes. So most people are insured with a company that they've never heard of before, and they rely on a statement that can be very, very misleading. And that statement is all of the companies are A-rated. And I need to take a step back there and make sure that people understand what that means. Just like anything in this country or in the world, things have changed. And an A rating does not mean what it used to mean. AM Best is the traditional rating firm that rates insurance companies throughout the country and throughout the world. And if you were to talk to somebody anywhere other than Florida, they would tell you that you should only insure with an AM Best A-rated company. But in South Florida, there are only about 4 or 5 insurance companies that can maintain that rating. What does that mean? That means that all of these startup insurance companies, or these insurance companies that most people have, do not have the financial stability to actually pay claims. In other words, they do not have money. They have a very, very low reserve of actual cash on hand, and they rely on the reinsurance market, which is typically out of the Cayman Islands. For lack of a better term, in any other industry, this would be known as a Ponzi scheme, because the folks are selling you a promise that they really can't keep, so they have to buy insurance on top of their insurance. So long story short, what has happened is it's the fine print. What used to be a profession full of integrity has now changed. When I got into this business 20 years ago, we put our integrity first before the commission, right? And we knew that if we did something bad or that something that wasn't above board, we would lose our insurance license and we would have to go find a different career. And we used to say, if you don't follow the rules, you'll probably be working as a cashier or something like that. And that's not to disparage the cashiers, it's just to say that you've got to maintain this professionalism. Well,
you have a reputation that you have to maintain.
And so unfortunately that has changed. So many people have insurance contracts that have fine print that limit things like water damage. Pipes breaking and water damage is the most common claim that you're going to find. Homes do burn in South Florida, but not like they do in other places. So most of you know somebody who's suffered a water damage claim. And there are many policies out there that are a little less expensive. And if you're only focused on price, you'll never realize that they've either capped that damage at, say, $10,000, or they've decided that because your home is older and has maybe a higher risk of this actually happening, they'll just eliminate the coverage altogether. But you'll never know this until you have a claim. So we like to say, come over to AAA where we're going to handle things more like they did in the good old days. Okay, we're going to sit with you. We're going to show you these options. We're going to try to provide value. But that does not mean that it's always expensive. We're working on a sample quote right now to try to show that. And we were discussing in the office yesterday. One of the multi-story condos in, say, Century Village in Boca, those condos could be insured for as little as $540 a year through us on this package policy. The benefit of this is that it's owned and operated by AAA. We're going to keep the promises that you would expect us to make. If you did have that policy and you sustained damage, only one deductible would apply for damage to, say, that condo or home or to your car. And that does happen, especially during these storms. So these things can start to save some money. We also do have no deductible on glass. And people will say, oh, well, everybody does that. No, that's not true. The state of Florida says if you have full coverage policy, they're going to cover your windshield at no deductible. But what about these newer cars that have this glass sunroof that runs from front to back? Those things are about $3,000 on most cars, maybe closer to $5,000 on an Audi. So if it's maybe just a little bit more, you might want to really look at the AAA. The other thing is we are going to use original equipment manufacturer parts, otherwise known as OEM. And I want to say that is huge and a big exception to this industry. So in other words, if you have a Jaguar and you get in an accident, or a Nissan, you can bring it to that dealership to have the body work done, not just a no-name body shop, which is also typical of the other insurance industry. So these are the things that kind of set us apart, but really it's all about the claims experience. So Hurricane Matthew came through, and the last one we had really that impacted us was Hurricane Irma. In that time, 64 days after the event, only 67% of the people who had filed claims had their policies claim actually settled. That's not a high number. AAA was at 91%, and of that, 97% said they were completely satisfied. That's a huge difference, and what that comes down to is the peace of mind. If you want to be calling all the time, wondering why your claims adjuster isn't calling you back when an event like that happens, it's because your insurance company doesn't have the staff to be able to bring in their actual employees. So what they do is hire outside contractors that come from all over the country. They come for a month or two. They get paid very well for that amount of time, and then they're gone. And now you have to start from scratch with somebody again. When these storms came through, AAA, because we're so large, we actually brought claims adjusters from places like Nebraska, where they didn't have that same event. We kept those people here for 4, 5, 6 months. Sad for their families, but good for the AAA members, because you could talk to the same person every day until this thing got settled for you. So that's the long and short of it. We believe in this thing so much that we say we'll even give you a $10 gas card just for getting a quote from us. So
you're kidding.
Absolutely not.
That's
And that costs
nice.
us a lot of money.
Yeah, that's right.
But
usually usually when they talk to someone, they're going to go and do it with you. I think that's a smart thing. Just get them. I understand that. But AAA, see, you said some things. You said a lot of things that I approve of course, Wayne. But the most important thing is I want to deal with someone that I know where they are, and I can talk to them, because nowadays it's not true. They're there one day, they're not there the next day, and we're doing everything online, which scares me a lot, because a lot of them don't have locations like you do.
That's absolutely right. And you look at the things that are happening with online, whether it's porch pirates stealing your Amazon thing, whether it's identity theft, whether it's all of these things. I think people are starting to value the face-to-face interaction a little bit more.
So if someone, now I know you have Coral Springs and you have Delray. So let's say that you sell someone something, they live in Coral Springs, but do they have to go to the Coral Springs office? No, they get any AAA, really.
Yeah, any AAA, and that's the beauty of AAA, is that we've got such a huge network, and it's a consistent system through all of the offices. So it kind of like the Walgreens experience. I like Walgreens because I know I'm going to know where to find everything. It doesn't matter what town I go into, they're pretty well set up the same. AAA is kind of the same thing. You could expect to have the same experience anywhere that you go, and so that is the beauty of it.
Okay, so we covered insurance, but let's cover, I think, travel a little bit, because when people come in and they don't know where they're going to go, they get to just sit down with a counselor, right? And have your counselors traveled to a lot of these places?
Yes. So AAA does a really good job of doing what we call FAM trips. FAM, it's just short for familiarization trip. And so what happens is these travel agents have experienced these same destinations that you're wanting to go to. Last year we were sending a lot of them to Germany, so they were seeing that. Before that it was a lot of river cruises. We also do domestic things. So if you're wanting to go, say, on a trip to the Grand Canyon and you're considering that Grand Canyon Railway, I can actually tell you that I've experienced that.
There's a Grand Canyon Railway?
There is, and they sing, "This land is our land" on the way to it, and I'll tell you, it
must be
sent chills up my
fabulous
spine.
to look down. Oh, I was just out there and I didn't know that.
Yeah, it added to the experience for me, is for sure. So it's those type of things that definitely add value. At the end of this month, that February 29th, we are doing our AAA travel show, which is gathering of all of those travel vendors, like I mentioned, and that could be anything from Royal Caribbean to AMA Waterways, and some of these things that range from a budget destination to a complete experience where personalized travel like Trafalgar and some of these talc tours. And what happens is you can go to this event. It's at the Wyndham Grand in Jupiter from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the 29th of February. And they're going to tell you everything you need to know. You'll be able to sit in on a presentation that's specific to one that you like, or you can just kind of hang around and gather a whole lot of information. You can learn some things and really get a really good idea of maybe developing that bucket list trip that you weren't sure what you wanted to take.
I have been to a lot of them over the years. I went there, I passed out. I even helped pass out some things for all of you.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure that you have a lot of the Boomer Times up there for that. So it's the 29th, which is what day?
That is a Saturday.
A Saturday, fantastic. And So, people should really go to that. And the Wyndham, and that's in Jupiter.
It is. And if you haven't been over there, that's a nice place to go. The Wyndham is relatively a new hotel in that whole Harborside area over there where they do fireworks for 4th of July and New Year's Eve. It's a nice place to go if you haven't been in a while to kind of check out how Jupiter's changed, and also a really good way to add some value to your AAA membership and see what we can do. And I challenge you to have us keep the promises that I'm making to you right now.
No, I'm sure you do that. But wait, so what's the time? When's it open?
11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Only 11 to 2.
Well, we'll stay as long as we need.
And I know you give out prizes and you give out discounts on trips. Oh, it's a wonderful event. I'm so glad you talked about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we want to do that. The other thing is, don't you also have a driving school?
We do. In Florida, we're not set up for a teen driver school right now, and it's something that I'd like us to get to down the road. But I do personally teach the 55 and over, what we call the senior driver class.
I want to know about that one.
Yeah, so most of you know that's the one where you save a little bit of money on your car insurance by coming to these classes. And AARP and others provide these courses as well. Ours is unique. It's unique to AAA. We charge, I think it's $20 for the course, but it's a good value, and it goes for typically about 5 or 6 hours because that's what the state requires us to do.
5 or 6 hours?
Yeah, but we make it fun. Well,
wow!
Maybe not fun, but we do the best we can to
I want to go to one.
And we make it relevant. Not to knock any of the other ones, but I think we're doing a better job of touching on some of the things that are more recent changes, like the distracted driving and specifically road rage. Road rage is a big problem in South Florida. We're actually at most times #1 in the country for deaths related to road rage, and there's been some very tragic incidents that have occurred, and we actually give you some very, very good tips, and I'll just share one of them as an example for you. Okay, so somebody's road raging on you and you're a little bit concerned. Now, I want to make sure I say not while you're driving, but maybe if you're at a stoplight and something like this is happening, hold up your smartphone, start recording them. Let them know they're being recorded. You'll probably find that things will de-escalate a little bit. In this world of viral videos, people lose their jobs and have some consequences for the things that they do out there. They get caught on videos. Now, those of you out there that maybe are a little older than me or are challenged like I am with the smartphone, maybe you're not going to be so quick to figure it out. Well, you know what? Fake it until you figure it out. They don't know that the camera's not on.
That's a great idea. So where do you hold these?
So we hold these in our branches, typically Delray Beach and Coral Springs, but most of your AAAs throughout the state would have these. I typically do between 3 and 4 a year, depending upon demand.
When's the next one?
The next one is the 27th of February, full house for that one. So if you're interested, call your local AAAs, let us know that you've got some demand for this. We're also happy to come out to your local community clubhouses or anything like that to provide this. We also have a simulator, which is kind of similar to a video game, but with a big steering wheel and the brake and the gas pedal and everything, that simulates the consequences of distracted driving. This was really meant for teens, but I really love to bring it out to businesses, and it can actually act as a safety meeting for your employees, and it can document the company's position on distracted driving. And we do it in a fun, lighthearted way, but still makes the point.
So this one is full now that you're having February.
Right.
And then you won't do one till probably July or something.
The next one's in April. I'm sorry, I don't have the date
April.
right now, but I know that one's still available. So for that one for Delray, you'd call 561-865-1400 and just tell them that you'd like to sign up for this senior driver class.
Oh my heavens. So see, this is something I definitely think that people should do.
Yeah.
That's perfect. And you're the one.
I am.
And
I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know. You enjoy everything. I mean, you've got such a great personality. That's great.
Thanks.
Well, see, just in the short time that we've taken, the 30 minutes, you have really shared so much about AAA. And how long have you worked for them?
I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary.
Oh, my heavens.
And that's one of the great things about AAA. AAA, we've got about 60 million members worldwide. So we are just behind Costco and a little bit more behind Amazon. But when you think about that, that's a huge number. That's a lot of people out there that trust AAA, and we have to keep that promise. So we're very, very grateful to have that loyalty.
We have quite a few people watching you right now. That's great. Both professionals, as a matter of fact, both physicians. Well, yeah, it's terrific. So I'll tell you, we're going to have you on a lot, and we're going to be talking more about cars. I have a lot of other ideas about the cars we didn't touch about. the energy, the cars that aren't, are going to not have to use gasoline, and we'll go over that next time that we talk with you. But one package insurance policy for your home and auto, simplify and save with one policy, one payment. I think that's really the best thing going, don't you?
I do. I think that that's very unique and something that a lot of people don't realize is out there. So we definitely want you to take advantage of that. Worst case, if we can't help you, you're going to get some good advice. You're going to get a policy review that we like to call the AAA triple check. And we're going to hand you a $10.
I was just going to say, it says free gift card. Didn't say $10, but that's great.
$10 Exxon Mobil gas card, which is quality gas. We always partner up with good people. So worst case, you're going to get a $10 gas card out of it.
Oh, I'll tell you, Wayne, this is just great. So you're really so typical, as great as you are, of the kind of people I've met over the years at AAA. I never had to worry about them, what they said. They were joyful. And many of you have been there a long time. There was someone there for many years, and I can't really remember his name. He used to write a column every month, a travel column.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that, but he did. He wrote it, and he came on the show, and he was terrific, and people just clamored for him too. So I see you have a new career. We're going to be getting you to write something in our magazine, so you can put in all these little things that that are special. And I know that there are other AAAs in South Florida.
Yes.
But we're just talking now about Delray and Coral Springs, and there is one probably in Miami, I have to assume, isn't there?
There is. There's one in Kendall. There's one in South Miami.
Okay.
There's one in Plantation.
Okay.
We have my office in Coral Springs. Then we have Delray Beach. And then we go up to Palm Beach Gardens, and then, say, Stewart. Roughly, in South Florida, if you were to, say, work off of the I-95 corridor, there's a AAA about every 20 miles.
Okay. Well, this is wonderful that you came on. We thank you so much, and we look forward to our next interview. And I see the $10 gift card now. I didn't see it. Now I see it. That's just fabulous. And you were great, I have to say. You were the best group there at our last expo with your tent and everything you were doing. So we have another one in July, and we'll give you the date. To July 21st, you got to do that again because people love you. It is something. You have to thank the founders and the people who really figured out about AAA. It's a very old organization, too. Isn't it 100 years old or something?
117.
117. Well, it has to say that you're good. I'm only 30 years with my company, but 117 sounds good. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Anita. It's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you very much.